Everybody, Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review. The figure we're going to be reviewing today is probably a long time coming. It's part of the pile of figures that is on loan to me from my buddy, and that is going to be the Generation Toy Tyrant. And this is their take on IDW Megatron, and this figure makes me wonder why I haven't picked it up yet. It is really, really good. I do, of course, have their GTOP or whatever Op X. That's what it is. Op X. I do, of course, have that figure. That's actually, if you dig deep, but hopefully not too deeply, you'll find that that's one of the earlier reviews before I knew what the hell I was doing. So, excellent figure, just amazing, astounding, wonderful figure. Great transformation, great detail, great poseability, everything. It's a great figure. And there they are next to each other. Megatron is just ever so slightly taller, which works out, I think. But anyhow, yeah, it makes me reviewing this figure makes me wonder why I haven't picked this thing up, because this is just excellent. The only thing I don't like about it is the way these panels stick out. And try as I might, I don't really see anything to do about it. I have seen some people's photos have them down like that, but that just increases his cross section, and I don't think it really looks that good, especially from the front, and it certainly doesn't look good from the back. So I guess what I'm getting at is, as well engineered as this figure is, I would have expected them to have figured something out with these panels. Like, they could have easily had like a pivot right here to have them come up and pivot up to just stow back here. That would have been great. That would have been fine. That would have even, plugged up this little gap right here in the chest, which you can see from the front and from the back. That would have plugged that up, and it would have even been good for the figure. So, I don't know. That's literally the only thing about this figure that's actually kind of frustrating. So, I say oftentimes, it's not a perfect figure. That's what makes this figure imperfect. This figure here probably would have been perfect, except for these feet are just a little too loose. And I've seen that with pretty much all of them. They're just on there with a simple pin. There's unfortunately no way to really tighten that, but that's for a different figure, for a different review. Let's talk about this guy here. So in terms of accessories, he comes with this little gun. I don't know if it really counts as an accessory because this forms an integral part of his alt mode. He also comes with a stand that's in several parts. It comes with this little part here, and this little part here. Let me put this out of the way for a moment. This little part here, and these have got some translucent plastic in them, which is nice. It's funny, actually. This one has got these little translucent vent details in here as well that you can't see through these vents at all. So, transparent plastic that you can't see. Cool. Anyhow, those go together like so, and then this just kind of clips in like that. And then this little thing clicks. You can move that around. You can push this in when you get it to a point where you like it, and that will, of course you could still pull this up, but you can't push it down when this little thing is engaged. And then similar, you've got this little slider here with more notches. Slide it to wherever you like, then push this down, and that will arrest that so it stops. And again, with this has got a little peg here that you can slide around and then push this little tab here. Push that through to the other side, and that will stop that from moving. And this peg actually, you can throw that on. There's a little hole in his dick plate. put it on there and do some like aerial poses for him, but I'm not going to take the time to set up aerial poses for him because that's just not the kind of review that I've got. Though I will say that this is nearly a 5mm peg, so if you really want to, you can totally just be like, Bloosh! Sorry, Yamgo, I stole that from you. Hopefully no hard feelings. But yeah, you can have him with FX parts coming out of his butthole if he had especially spicy Energon shake or something. I don't know. Anyhow. But yeah, so this figure looks fantastic. The face sculpt is really, really good. He's just got this kind of like half scowl, half smirk. It looks good. Mostly all black on him with some purple detail in the grooves. A little bit of painted silver back here. A couple red details. Silver here. Silver, of course, on the arms. A little bit of gold detail in there. His toe and heel are die cast, and also this panel right here on his thigh for whatever reason. But yeah, this figure cleans up really well aside from these panels here. It looks really good. Is just an excellent looking figure. I don't know why I haven't picked one of these up yet. I'm going to make that a goal for me to pick this guy up. It's not my New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is to pick up a Hikaru Ichi whatever's VF1S DX Jigoken with the super parts. That's my New Year's resolution this year. So maybe I'll get this guy eventually. But anyhow. So in terms of poseability, his head is not on a ball joint. It just goes up and down quite to a good degree. Oh, by the way, I want to point out I'm not an electronics guy really, but if you flip this little switch on his back, his eyes light up, and they light up pretty damn well actually. So just enough to look good without like being like blinding. Come to think of it, the eye feature on that Optimus Prime was similar. So, head swivels just fine, looks up and down, arms go around. If you move this panel up, they'll go out for a full degree. There's actually 2 arm joints in here, mostly for transformation, but that allows you to have some decision on where specifically you want that arm to swing out, because you can swing it out all the way down here and not even have to move this thing out of the way, or you can move this up a bit and swing that arm joint up to represent that. So that's cool. Single bend, he's got a bicep swivel. Yep. Single bend at the elbow, but it's quite a deep bend. Little bit of hollowness there, but I'll forgive it. I'll give it a pass this time. He's got a hinge here, which is purely for poseability. It doesn't do anything for transformation. That allows him to kind of like, sit here and like curl in his fist just a little bit, like he's like anger mode. Wrist swivel. His fingers he's got all 3 fingers are together in one joint, and then his pointy finger is separate and has also one single hinge mid finger. So he can kind of point, but like not really. He's got some heavy typewriter finger going on there. Arthritic. His hip will click that far forward, that far back. It will go out that far. Once you get this thing kind of pivots up and down. So once you get that more out of the way, it'll go out. We'll say about 80% of a Van Damme, 85%. He's got a swivel here above the knee, single joint at the knee for about 90 degrees. He's got his angle goes forward and backward and rotates or pivots quite nicely. It's nice. His leg is basically hollow, but it's all covered up really well. There's no, like, you can't really access into that hollowness. Oh, I forgot to mention he does have a waist swivel, and that is the full extent of the pivot right there. So not incredible, but it's certainly good enough for posing and whatnot. Just really good figure on it. One thing that's a little weird about this figure is the arm cannon here is not like his arm is in line with this, and then this is at an angle like that, and so there's a quite an angle in there between them, quite a discrepancy. But that's just, that comes down to the design, and especially when you tilt his wrist a bit, it looks good. It looks all right. He'll stick his arm up and look at you, and yeah, it looks fine. But anyhow, let's get him transformed up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this arm cannon off and put that aside. We're gonna transform his arms first. So you want to open up this purple panel right here, bring this up and around, and then close that back down like that. His arm is going to go up. You're going to open up this panel here on the back. There we go. Open up this panel here on the back of his arm. Fold his fist in. Close that back up. And then this is going to fold down like that. I've got this on the double hinge here. And then just leave it there for now. Again with the other side. Bring up this purple panel. Bring that part around. Close this back down. Bring up his arm. Open up this piece here. Fold in his fist. Close that back down. Fold that in like that. And there we go. So now, continuing downward, we're going to untab, just kind of stick your finger in this little gap here and yank on that. That'll untab this. You can pull this back over the section of his backpack, so this is all the way open. You're going to close this, and then this is going to come, well, no, actually we're not going to do that quite yet. So put this panel down, open that up, bring it all the way out, close this down, and then you want to wiggle this out and begin to untab it. There are two tabs right here, and there's a big old tab right underneath this window. So let's get that big tab first. Unfortunately, there's not really a good way to poke that open. I don't have a spudger on me today. There we go. Just wiggle it free. So that disconnects this whole section here. Once you've got this floating free, you can take his head. Yeah, let me put this back how it was. So you've got his head is on this panel here, and then this panel is connected to that panel. So you're basically going to treat this like a double hinge to bring that down and keep his head in basically the same position. That'll allow you to, with this panel here coming up, that'll allow you to throw this in here quite nicely. And so you're going to line up all these panels here and just kind of interlock them together. This is going to come in and close up and close up so that these are pretty flush now. And then you're going to take and you're going to push these in. I like to push them in like this, nose first, so that they tuck in underneath this edge. If you want to just like throw them like that, because this part of this figure sits higher than this part, because you see it slants down, it's harder to push this in sideways. So if you nose it in, it'll slide under that cockpit section just pretty well. So we'll go like that. If it won't latch all the way together yet, don't worry about that yet. What you want to do before it'll sit home permanently is you got these two tabs back here, and you want to engage those. And that'll line that up quite well. There it is. Hello. So now for this torso section, what you want to do is you want to bring this part in just a little bit, swing it around. Actually, you may have to untab his dick plate first. Swing this around, and then that'll allow you to pull this back out. There's a panel right here that you have to pull out. This panel will tab, this little peg on the panel will tab into that hole right there in a moment. You want to take these side fillers here and fold them in like that. And then this whole section here has got a double hinge. You want to bring that up and up like that. Now these will fold down. This will tab into that peg. And now we're a step closer to making this all work. You want to take this thing here. So this was sitting down here like this. Now that you've moved everything up, you can bring the dick plate up, and these tabs here will plug into these holes here. And that will help lock all of this together. So let's open up these panels here to get ready for the legs. So to do the legs, what you want to do is you want to make sure that this is slid up and that this panel is folded down. You want to, if you push this ankle back, that'll pop this tab open. Fold this panel up. You can fold his foot up by folding in the heel and rotating the toe around. And then you'll see there's all this hollowness inside his leg. You want to push, this will fold in and then fold in again. And then you want to just put your thumb right here and apply pressure to that, and that will snap it out. You'll see that this shin section is on a double hinge, and you'll see that there's like a little divot up here. That's going to swing down and go underneath the hinge where this knee section is thrown on. So with that seated, you're going to bring this all the way around. So it'll just sit in there with that. Close this back up. And then you want to kind of fold his knee like that and bring it around like so. His knee is going to sit in against the body like that. These little tabs that are on the knees are going to fit into these slots on the underside of the shoulder. Like so. And then you're going to bring this down, and while you bring this down, you're going to push it in to seat these tabs in place. Then last but not least, you've got these tabs right here on this panel is going to fit into these slots right here on that hip panel. Just like so. Let's do the same thing for the other leg. So make sure that this is pushed up, flip that down. You want to bring his ankle back to pop out. Yeah. Pop out that panel, fold that up, bring his toe around. We're going to fold up this panel here and this panel here, put some pressure on it to bring it down. Seat that all the way in and down. Bring this toe around. Close this panel back up. Fold that. Bring it all the way around. This knee guard right here is going to slot in right next to his face. like so. Make sure these knee tabs plug into the shoulder slots. Close this down, seat these tabs. And we're going to put these tabs into that spot. You want to take this panel right here and untab it, bring it around, and fold the end down. So just kind of bring this up right here, untab that, bring it around, and fold it down. That'll help cover this up from the bottom. And then for the wingtips, you want to take this and separate this out. You want to slide in this panel here, slide in this panel here, fold out this panel here, and that's one wingtip. It'll just attach onto there. And the same with the other side. Slide, slide, rotate, tab. And there is Bomber Megatron in his vehicle mode. And this looks pretty damn good. It's got one hell of a wingspan. The black and purple detail looks really sleek. Big old clear purple detail all along the front of the plane here. Underside even looks pretty decent with these panels covering up a lot of it. So before you had this peg that was here under his butt, now you're using this peg here. You can attach that onto, let me actually fold this down like that and fold this in like that and bring this vertical like that, and then we can just take this and plug that into there like so, and have Bomber Megatron just chilling out on a flight stand, which is good because he doesn't have any like landing gear detail or whatnot, but he looks really good. Of course now, I mean, Bomber, he's not going to be scale size with Optimus Prime, so I didn't take the time to transform him or anything like that, but it's a good looking figure. It really does look like he just jumped right off of the comic page of the IDW comics. Big old vent details here. Of course, completely unrealistic in terms of whether or not it would actually fly. Its cross section is way too huge, but whatever. They say if you give something enough thrust, you can make anything fly. But yeah, there he is, Bomber Megatron. Fantastic figure. Generation Toy did some great work on this. Plastic all feels solid. The paint apps all are decent. There was that one issue about these panels not stowing very well in robot mode, but there's enough good things about this figure that I'm not going to get hung up on that. Really only one bad thing. So this is highly recommended. I actually came across a where was I? I was on saw an ad for AliExpress come up, and it showed this guy, somebody in China had this on sale for like $110, and I was like, ooh, that's actually a really good price for this. That was before I had this on hand, so I may have to track that down again and see about purchasing it for myself. So, fantastic figure. Highly recommended. Thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Everybody stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya.